weeknights at 6:30. Top story. Weather with Jeff Renner, weeknights.
Tonight on King 5 News, the Mariners hear for the first time from the man who wants to sell the team. The threat of a newspaper strike in Seattle, and we'll prove once and for all that old dogs can learn new tricks and meet new dolphins, too.
A little bit frosty around western Washington and definitely so east of the Cascades, but the future's looking bright this weekend.
The Sonics had a chance to move into third place in the Pacific Division, but Golden State had no intentions of letting them move up in that position.
Stay with us. King 5 News is next.
From King 5 in Seattle, Don Porter with Jeff Renner, weather, and Tony Ventrella, sports. This is King 5 News.
Good evening. King County Police are investigating the mysterious death of a young Asian woman in White Center tonight. Authorities say it's too soon to call the death a homicide, although it appears on the surface to be, in their words, suspicious. Authorities say the young woman was staying with a family in this apartment. Family members told police they returned home early this afternoon to find the woman dead in the living room. There were no signs of struggle, no apparent cause of death. Police say they hope a medical examiner's report will provide more information tomorrow. He put the Mariners on the block, but at the same time, he hopes they will stay and play in Seattle. Owner George Argyris was in Palm Springs today to meet with the team he's selling for the first time since dropping his Mariners for sale bombshell here in Seattle on Thursday.
I think they're a wonderful group of guys, and my heart will always be with them.
It's a good move for him family-wise, too, to be able to go back down to Southern California. That's really where his heart's at. Basically, George just explained that it was just a personal decision on his part. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, you do what you have to do. That's a part of life.
First baseman Ken Phelps said he, for one, is not sorry to see George Argyris go.
It's obvious from a player standpoint that, you know, he needed to be more active in the free agent market.
The key question as yet unanswered is, after 10 losing seasons, can the Mariners show enough competitive potential to attract a buyer who will keep them here in Seattle? David Jones reports on the search for an answer to that question.
The Mariners face a double challenge. They must win the games, but to survive, they must also win the crowds.
Thank you.
Ticket sales have been steadily climbing, but team officials are worried about the impact of the Mariners being up for sale.
We've had a few kooks call, you know, that want to give you a bad time, and but the vast majority of the calls have been very complimentary. We've sold 30, 40 tickets today, full season tickets today, so we're right on track, and so far everything's been very positive.
Bill Knutson says 40 season tickets were sold on Friday, many to big companies. But what the Mariners really need is support from small business. Others agree.
It's the little guy. It's the group of businesses with 10 to 100 employees who have the capacity to buy maybe 2, maybe 4 season tickets each year and to use them well for their employees and their clientele.
John Howe with First Interstate Bank says the ticket situation could quickly change with local team ownership and good marketing.
So in Seattle, we have never really had the opportunity to have a team that has been developed by local owners in a successful way so that the relationship between the community and the ownership elicited a feeling of community ownership of that team.
What else would help is some civic boosterism. Local clubs and the Chamber of Commerce have tried to help sell tickets, but they say not enough fans are buying. In Seattle, David Jones, King 5 News.
University of Washington officials say they should know by mid-June if Husky Stadium will be ready for the first home football game. The new addition to the stadium collapsed, as we know, February 25th. Today, the university and contractors agreed to extend the completion date by 22 days before the contractors will start being penalized. That's August 23rd. The first game is September 5th. University officials say the steel structure should be completed by mid-June.
If it's done at that point, the chances of the stadium being completed by the 23rd of August are improved. If it is not done, then the chances of the stadium being ready by the 23rd of August are fairly slim.
The contractors have also agreed to pay up to $80,000 in damages and expenses to the university. For Seattle's newspapers, a strike deadline looms Sunday at midnight. That deadline set by 900 employees of the Seattle Times and the Post-Intelligencer. Contract negotiations have gone on since June, but major differences between the publishers and the newspaper guild remain unresolved. Say they will continue to meet Saturday and even Sunday if needed. Outstanding issues include a merit pay plan that would allow management to base pay hikes on work quality. The union prefers an across-the-board pay increase. Today, negotiators met without the federal mediator for several hours.
We're talking about the major issue today, and that's compensation, and I think face-to-face conversation on that issue is not only helpful but necessary in order to reach an agreement on that issue. It is a complex subject, and a subject that is new to the guild, and one that needs to have a complete airing.
There hasn't been a newspaper strike in Seattle since back in 1953. A union meeting is scheduled for Sunday afternoon, held by members of the newspaper guild. Angered by Japanese dumping of computer chips on the American market, President Reagan today retaliated in a way that could double the price of some Japanese goods sold in this country. Starting in mid-April, tough new tariffs will be imposed on Japanese products like tiny TV sets, disk drives, and laser printers, and personal computers. The administration contends Japan has reneged on a worldwide agreement not to sell microchips at cut-rate prices, a practice that has cost the U.S. chip industry $1 billion.
It builds up employment, in this case in Japan, and cuts U.S. employment. We've estimated as much as 30,000 to 40,000 people.
The U.S. and other nations are upset about Japan's huge trade surplus. It exports far more than it imports. Figures out today show Japan's trade surplus shot up to over $8 billion, double that of a year ago. American consumers shouldn't be hurt too badly by today's action because left off of today's list of new tariff targets are things like stereos, video recorders, and microwave ovens. Also today, new concerns about inflation coming back. The government said that consumer prices rose 0.4% last month with big increases in gasoline and fuel oil prices. So far this year, inflation is running at an annual rate of 6.7%. That's far above last year's rate of 1.1%. President Reagan puts on the brakes on raising the speed limit to 65 miles an hour. More on that when we come back. He said he would, and he did it. President Reagan vetoed the $88 billion highway bill today. The president talked tough, calling the bill a budget buster.
The bill's a textbook example of special interest pork barrel politics at work, and I have no choice but to veto it. And that is the veto on top of the bill.
The president favors the higher freeway speed limit, 65 for rural interstates, but as you heard, he didn't like where some of the money's going. Example, $870 million for the Los Angeles subway. That's 14% of the bill's mass transit money to one city. Democrats don't like the veto.
Genuine risk with the economy. You put the American economy at risk. You invite a recession. It seems to us a mindless act.
The president is lobbying hard to get Republican senators to back his veto. One Senator, McCain of Arizona, came out of a White House meeting with the president today saying he had to go have his arm reset. The 44 textbooks banned recently from Alabama schools may soon be back in the hands of students. 3 weeks ago, you remember, a judge ordered those books off the shelves and out of the classrooms because he said they promoted the, quote, godless religion of humanism. But today, an appeals court postponed that ban and said the books could be used while the case is under appeal. The United States found itself today smack in the middle of the latest flare-up of tension between Greece and Turkey, this time over oil rights in the Aegean Sea. The upshot is, Greek President Papandreou late today called on the United States to suspend operations at an American military base near Athens. The Nia Makri Naval Base is a major telecommunications center for the U.S. military. U.S. officials believe the Greeks fear what the base learns about Greek ship movement may be passed on to Turkey, which is a NATO ally of the U.S. This is the ship at the center of the dispute. Turkey planned to send it out tomorrow to explore for oil in waters claimed by both Greece and Turkey. At one point today, Greece actually ordered a full military alert, but later there were signs Turkey was backing down, thanks in part to pressure from other NATO nations not to create an incident. And in Egypt today, a first, the country's first beauty pageant, ending in the crowning of the country's first beauty queen, Miss Egypt. The contest took place amid fears of terrorism, possible disapproval by hardline religious conservatives. The head of security warned contestants to, quote, hit the ground if you hear a bang. Nothing happened. However, Islam dictated that the one-piece swimsuit contest was held in private. There's the winner, a 24-year-old interior designer from Cairo. She's off now to Singapore and the Miss World contest in May. And winner of the vacation sports replacement of the last 2 weeks, Blue Gellos in for Tony Ventrella. I knew you guys weren't related.
We're not, although...
That's the biggest sports news of the night.
Yeah, that would be. Well, Tony will be back on Monday, so this is it.
This is it.
This is it, and then I go off to Singapore to join Miss Egypt at the Miss World competition. We'll have more on the Sonics. They played tonight, and they were anything but beautiful tonight. We'll explain that right after this.
Well, we've got it all straightened out, who everybody is. Right, Jeff? Oh, Lou's got the decks cleared now for sports.
We're set with the Sonics, too. We'll start with that, get off the baseball for a while, because really nothing's going on the field yet. The Sonics had a chance, though, to move into third place in the Pacific Division, but Golden State had no intention of relinquishing that spot. The Warriors played a tough game and beat Seattle in the Coliseum by 1 point, 106-105. First half, the Sonics should have known this wasn't going to be their night. Xavier McDaniel got wide open, but he missed the breakaway jam. Still, Seattle led at halftime 53-47, but Golden State took control down the stretch. Rod Higgins hit 3 big baskets in the final 2 minutes. This one gave the Warriors a 103-98 lead. But Seattle came back. The Sonics trailed by 3 when Eddie Johnson tossed in that twisting three-pointer. It was tied at 103. Final seconds, game tied. Sleepy Floyd with the ball. He went down low, drew a foul with 4 seconds to play in the ball game, and they fouled him good. He hit one of the 2 free throws to give the Warriors the lead. Seattle a final chance, but they didn't set up a very good final shot. Eddie Johnson was left with that 25-footer that fell far short, and Golden State beat Seattle 106-105. Meanwhile, in Chicago, the Bulls hosted the Celtics. Boston proved to be an unwelcome guest. Larry Bird tossed in 33 points by halftime. The Celtics led by 3 at the break. Michael Jordan had a subpar game, but he kept things close. He moved down the lane for that slam. Jordan finished with 22, but Larry Bird stole the show. He added 8 more points in the second half to finish with 41 for the game. Boston beat Chicago 111-106. So, reviewing the scores, Seattle losing tonight, Boston winning tonight. Other games, Phoenix over the Clippers. Indiana beat New York. After 5.5 weeks resting, Julius Erving back with 29 points tonight. The Sixers beat Jersey. Rookie Brad Daugherty finished with 27 points and 12 rebounds as Cleveland beat Milwaukee. And Karl Malone and Darrell Griffith each scored 29 points. Utah put 7 players in double figures to beat San Antonio by 11. Tomorrow, the Final Four is narrowed to the final 2 in the NCAA basketball tournament. Providence battles Syracuse, and Indiana faces tournament favorite Nevada-Las Vegas. That game could be very interesting. 2 very different teams and 2 very different coaches. Indiana is a patient and tough team, relying on solid offense, easy shots, the 2-pointers. Vegas, on the other hand, is a free-spirited, fast-moving 3-point shooting club. The coaches are as different as their teams. Jerry Tarkanian chews towels and is basically a quiet guy. Hoosier coach Bobby Knight chews out players and referees and pounds desks and throws chairs. That's something a few of the running Rebels just could not handle.
I could never play for that man. He's just too strict, too disciplined. If I wanted to join the Army, I would have,
And I don't go for too many people telling me off and grabbing on my clothes and stuff, so I don't think I could play for Bobby Knight at all.
World Games trial, he was overseeing the whole thing, so I know what Bobby Knight's like, and he's a pretty tough customer. It'd be really tough to play for him. Yeah.
Well, fortunately, he just has to play against him tomorrow. Baseball on the field today. The Mariners' 3-game winning streak came to an end in Palm Springs. The Angels ripped Seattle pitching for 15 runs and won easily 15-2. Tomorrow, the Mariners face the San Diego Padres, a game which George Ardress says he'll root for the Mariners. I wonder what he told the San Diego reporters. Once again, rain interrupted the second round of the TPC, golf's 5th major tournament. About half the field will have to complete their second round tomorrow morning. The wet conditions halted play for the second straight day. Some of those out on the course just could not figure out why they quit for the day. The rain suited this guy just fine. Here's a look at the leaderboard among those who did finish, but players like the first round leader, Greg Norman, were still out on the course when the rains hit, so this will change tomorrow morning. The Tacoma Stars lost tonight in San Diego. The Sockers broke a 3-all tie with 3 minutes remaining to hand Tacoma a 4-3 loss. Tacoma, though still in first place, will host the Los Angeles Lasers on Sunday. And briefly tonight, Tom Davis of Iowa is the Associated Press College Basketball Coach of the Year. Navy center David Robinson is the College Player of the Year.
Thanks, Lou. You get the weekend off?
I do.
Okay. Enjoy.
Thank you much.
All right. And if you've got the weekend off and you're looking for a place to get out of town to do some skiing, Chuck Wiese is in now for Jeff Renner, and he's going to tell us where to go for skiing.
Anywhere, here or out of state. Okay. And skiing looks great, well, just about everywhere in the Pacific Northwest. And we're looking at some sunshine this weekend to make things even better than that, but take a look at some of these snowfall totals. Out of state, Timberline Lodge, 164 inches, Mount Bachelor, 116, Sun Valley, 55, the Big Mountain, Montana, 36, and just to our north, Red Mountain, BC, still 18 inches of snow. The weekend couldn't be better for this activity if you're planning on it, and I'll be back with our forecast in detail in just a couple of minutes.
The Church Council of Greater Seattle offers services for the hungry and provides shelter for the homeless. For more information, call the Church Council at 525-1213.
All week long, we've been waiting for this great weekend that Chuck and Jeff have been promising, and now the payoff is here, right?
It is here, no doubt about it. The only thing is, it's going to be a little bit on the cool side this weekend. We have some frost to talk about at night. In fact, we just had a call from one of our observers out east of Redmond, already down to 30 degrees out there, although that's not what we're reporting officially at SeaTac or downtown here at King. Our weather video tonight is of the Seattle Center Midway. Beautiful night to be out tonight. It's clear skies, but brisk. The humidity is still down a little bit, and the temperature is falling as well. And right now, outside of King Broadcasting, we have clear skies, 44 degrees, which is 7 Celsius, 70% humidity, a north wind, and the pressure right now still high, holding steady at 30.40 inches. Today's official high made it to 55 degrees. This morning's low, 35, will be down to at least that tomorrow, or probably colder. No rainfall. The pollen count was up today, and that's primarily due to an increase in the amount of birch pollen in the air today. Also, quite a bit of alder. Here's a look at our temperature pattern today on both sides of the Cascades. These temperatures recovered from being down in the mid-20s in a lot of eastern Washington early this morning, and indications are they're going to be down that cold again tonight. Readings already down to the mid and upper 30s from the official reporting stations over there. West side temperatures all in the mid-50s today, some only in the low 50s. We'll gradually start seeing a couple of degrees of warming over the weekend, but the warming is going to be slow from indications tonight. Here's a look at our past report. And snow tires are advised over Stevens, compact snow and ice over Baker and White Pass, and just bare dry conditions over Blute and Snoqualmie. Driving through any of the passes this weekend should be rather simple. No major weather expected. But just east of here, a reminder that we just finished winter. A large push of cold air coming south out of Canada will produce an area of snow and cold weather. Notice these high temperatures for tomorrow, only in the teens and 20s over a good part of the northern plains and eastern Rockies tomorrow. The cold air pushing south towards Texas. It's not quite affecting the northwest that much because the jet stream winds here are buckling. High pressure and a very strong one just off the coast, steering the effects of the storm in here mostly to the north. Just a few fragments of high clouds coming by from time to time. But I think we'll see enough sun tomorrow to call it mostly sunny, and certainly that way on Sunday. Here's the King 5 forecast. For Seattle, Tacoma, and vicinity then. Don and Lou, we're forecasting mostly clear skies tonight, but nippy. Down to about 33 officially, but any of the outlying areas getting down closer to 30, such as what we're forecasting there for Olympia. Tomorrow, I'm going to say mostly sunny, just a few high clouds at times. Beautiful weekend. Tomorrow's high should be up to about 56 degrees. Statewide, tomorrow we're going to see plenty of sunshine from Snoqualmie to eastern Washington. Their temperatures in the mid-50s and about 36 over Snoqualmie. And finally, if you have early next week off like I do, you'll like the forecast too, because I'm going to continue this at least through, well, Tuesday.
Okay.
Before we start clouding over again.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chuck. Finally tonight, used to be a dog was a person's best friend. Well, for Kai, a dog in Florida, that's not necessarily so. Kai likes people all right. It's just that he has much more fun with dolphins. Here's Kai's story.
3 days a week, Kai works here at Disney's Living Seas exhibit. He's not part of the show. Kai stays behind the scenes to help his owner, dolphin trainer Gretchen Jacobs. Kai took a liking to these aquatic adventures when Gretchen was training dolphins in the Florida Keys.
He started chasing them, they started chasing him, and that surprised us too because dolphins are real cautious. Normally, you put something brand new in their environment, they go the other direction. But it's like there was this immediate attraction. That was 2 years ago. They've been doing it ever since.
Kai is basically a mutt, but he must be part sheepdog, judging by the way he tries to herd the dolphins like a flock of sheep. But that isn't easy when the only stroke you know is the dog paddle.
They tease him incessantly. They'll sit underneath him. They'll try to swim as close to him as they can without him touching them. They realize that he doesn't have a chance.
Gretchen has trained Kai to dive in only when he hears the magic word, playtime.
Peanuts. Good boy. Playtime.
And then it's back to the watery game of tag with his 300-pound opponents.
He's got the best of both worlds. I mean, he can come in here and he can play and he can have a good time. but he doesn't have to stay here all the time. He can also then go home and enjoy the things that there are at home. So I think he's a pretty lucky dog.
Ellen Maynard reporting for NBC News.
A perfect dog for Mike Nelson on Cement, remember? Boy, where was that dog when Mike needed him? Well, that's about it, except you wanted to mention, well, we think we should all mention from King 5 News at 11 that our colleague James Hattori is off to Houston, going down to Houston to work at a television station there, and we'll miss him here.
We want to wish him all the luck.
Yep.
He's been here for quite a few years.
Good luck, partners. Send back some 10-gallon hats.
Yeah.
That's about it for this week on King 5 News at 11. For Lou and for Chuck, I'm Don Porter. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Adopt one of the orcas that live in Puget Sound and help the Whale Museum in Friday Harbor. For more information, call 367-0460.
Entertainment this week, Saturday at 6.